Hi, I'm Dameon Nelson, and coming up next is PWR Primetime. We're going to review the TNA Lockdown pay-per-view next.
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the Pro Wrestling Report Primetime for Friday, April 15th, 2010. It's tax day. Dameon Nelson sitting alongside Ring of Honor's very own and the Pro Wrestling Report's very own, Rasche Brown, the Skull Crusher. You made it quite clear yesterday on Interactive that you were going to be a part of the show today, so welcome aboard.
Yeah, I am welcome aboard.
You were outspoken this past Monday night on the ESPN radio show.
When am I not? Come on,
Exactly.
man. That's my life.
Well, we'll get a lot more of it tonight, I'm sure, because we're going to be talking about this Sunday's TNA Lockdown on pay-per-view, coming to you from St. Louis, Missouri at the Family Arena. We're going to go over it match by match, Rasche, and let's talk about the first matchup, which features the Knockouts, and it's another mess, because somehow or another the tag titles and the women's title is on the line. It is the beautiful people, Madison Rayne and Velvet Sky versus Angelina Love and Tara. And again, as I said, the Knockouts Championship and the Knockouts Tag Team Championships are up for grabs. Every match in a steel cage, including this contest, featuring the TNA Knockouts. What do you think we're going to see there?
I have no idea. I mean,
are you at all
man.
interested in that matchup?
Well, a few of the girls in that match can actually wrestle, so it may be entertaining. But I think all logic points to the team of Tara and Angelina Love?
Yes.
They should come out on top simply because they've been embarrassed and humiliated over the past couple of weeks, and it's their turn to come back.
I would imagine that that would be the case in that matchup, and yeah, we'll see what happens.
Yeah.
Tag team matchup, Team 3D, the Dudleys going up against the Band, Scott Hall, and X-Pac, Six-Pac, Sean Waltman, in a match that should be a wild one, at least from the side of Team 3D, but obviously some challenges on the other side of the ring.
Yeah, one challenge. My friend X-Pac, doesn't he have a match this week? Friday? Tonight?
Tonight, actually, yes. He's going to be performing and wrestling in Racine, Wisconsin for Great Lakes Championship Wrestling and part of GLCW Attitude.
And who's he wrestling?
This
Al
one guy.
Snow?
Yeah.
X-Pac. Let me tell you, my friend, you've got too many eggs in too many baskets. You need to concentrate on your pay-per-view match or
Maybe he thinks that's in the bag.
World Heavyweight title match.
Maybe he thinks he doesn't need to worry about it.
You're going to be sore when this weekend's over, brother.
I'm sure he knows how to dull the pain.
Yeah, but luckily for you, you have Kevin Nash on your side, so I think you may pull it out.
Well, now he's actually teaming with Scott Hall in this matchup because Kevin Nash has a singles match.
You still have Kevin Nash on your side, so I think you may pull it out.
That one should be entertaining, I guess.
Yeah, why not? I mean, you're not going to see great wrestling, but you should see great storyline and theory within the match, and we should be entertained.
Kevin Nash will indeed take on Eric Young, EY, in a match that I think should be the last time these two wrestle each other, because that storyline's been dragged out since last October, if not earlier, between those two individuals. It's in a cage.
This is so crazy. I mean, does Eric Young really have a chance? But, that's the great thing about the wrestling business. The 1, 2, 3 kid didn't have a chance against Scott Hall that one time.
Then a couple years later, he was in diapers and baby powder.
Exactly. And Kevin Nash is a good guy, and, maybe he's ready to try to propel Eric Young to the next level. Who knows? We'll have to wait and see Sunday.
So you ain't picking a winner?
You know what? I'm going to pick a winner.
Chicken dinner?
Since Kevin Nash will help X-Pac and Scott Hall win their match, he's going to lose his.
All right. The X Division Championship will be on the line. Doug Williams, the current champion, going up against two men. Two threats to his title. First, Kazarian, and second, Shannon Moore. Doug Williams, extremely talented. Kazarian, extremely talented. Shannon Moore, extremely unique. in this matchup, what do you think we're going to see from those three talents? Tremendous talents in the ring.
I think, well, I actually watched the Shannon Moore and Kazarian match Monday, and they call it a TNA X Division match. Actually, the term for that is a real professional wrestling match because you label your division, but it has nothing to do with high flying. Those guys, they did a couple of high flying spots, but mostly it was wrestling. This should just be the label of the guys that want to bust their ass division and work hard and wrestle a good match. That's what it should be called. So you're going to see good wrestling this week from all three guys. Like you said, Doug Williams, great worker.
Mm-hmm.
Kazarian, a great worker. Shannon Moore, they're all innovative. You're going to have a good match. The winner, man, that's tough. I'm going to have to go with Kazarian.
Now, you said something interesting, and as a man who wrestles with Ring of Honor Wrestling, a man who had a WWE developmental contract, a man who's wrestled all over the world, these matches that, you know, like the one you talked about between Shannon and Moore on Impact, how should these spot fest matches be? What I mean by that is a lot of the X Division matches, people are just waiting for that next big spot.
Right.
And in that match on Monday, you said the spots were a lot more spread out and a lot less prevalent in the matchup. As a wrestler, what is really the formula as it pertains to that? Fans want spots. That's all they want.
Well, this is my formula. I don't cater to fans. You know what I mean?
You're a heel?
I'm in the ring. No, as a professional, I'm in the ring. You're going to like what I do or you're not going to like what I do. I'm not going to change what I'm doing because you're not giving me the response I want. You're going to suffer until I get the response I want. So, for me to answer that question, I guess I got a little bit off track there.
It happens on this show.
Yeah, it does happen.
Spots or no spots? I mean, is there too many spots? Is there potential to have a match where there's too many high spots?
Spots are great, but you can't just pop up and go to the next one.
Yeah.
The end result, somebody should be selling at the end of whatever you're doing. You can't just go up into the next segment of your match because what you did before means nothing. So if you go 10 to 12 minutes and you do 3 or 4 of those flashy spots, but you're selling in between.
Don't they mean more?
Yes, it means a lot more, and it's technically not a quote-unquote X Division match. It's just a really good wrestling match with a little bit of high spots in them.
I think they potentially brand it as X Division to just basically, I mean, make it special. If you just had that match without it being in a category of its own, it may not have as much impact as it did being an X Division match.
But this isn't WCW 1998 when you had luchadors flying all over the. Okay.
WCW is a defunct wrestling company that went out of business and was purchased by World Wrestling Entertainment in 2001. I have to give that historical perspective for our viewers out there. Sometimes they don't know what WCW was.
So anyway, you don't have a bunch of luchadors flying and diving and flipping and catching and moping and groping. No, you just have guys in there working. So it's not the X Division or luchadors of old. I guess it's a evolutioned X Division where there's more mat wrestling with spots thrown in, and you kind of exclude the bigger guys that can't carry on that type of a match or that pace of a match.
All right. The Gospel from the Skull Crusher.
Because also X Division does it have a weight limit?
It's got no limits.
Okay, so if you're a big guy and you're agile enough to go along with this, why not?
And you've worked many a match with Samoa Joe, correct?
Yeah, he don't want no more.
Let's move on to the next contest. Mr. Anderson challenges Kurt Angle, and in this situation, Kurt Angle has stated publicly in a recent interview that he is looking for some time away from the ring after Lockdown. This could be the final encounter between these two men.
It could be. I really enjoy this storyline. Kenny is coming off as, can I say
absolutely
anything? You're not too vulgar, but he's coming off as a prick.
Prick's good.
A dirty little prick. And I love it. And what I love about Kenny, and I've always loved about him because I've known him since he started day one in this business, his style is very different. He's not crisp and fluid at what he does. It's nice and gritty and nasty and not calculated or choreographed. and I love it. He's just, it's real. It's what you would do if you're really trying to get ahead against somebody that you know is better than you.
This is going to be an interesting comparison for many reasons for those who know, but it's almost like a Randy Orton kind of thing. Because it's all so calculated and sort of, you know, when I think of when he grabbed
But Randy's smooth and he's handsome.
Yeah, but I mean, as far as think about when
Kenny's just nice and gritty, and he's in shape, but he still looks like he has a beer or two every now and then. He's just not as crisp and clean as Randy Orton. That's
when he grabbed that dog tag, and just the way he delivered it, you know, looking at it, looking at him, looking at it, perfectly executed.
Yes,
it's good stuff. This matchup, you expect to see who come out of that cage the victor?
I think Kurt Angle will win, but Kenny will put him out. Kenny's heat continues.
He's going to get his heat back after losing.
Yeah, and that's why it's okay for Kurt to say what he said on his Twitter or however he...
Could be a word.
Yeah, I mean, there you go.
Next matchup is Team Hogan, which is comprised of the Captain Abyss with Jeff Jarrett, Jeff Hardy, and Rob Van Dam going up against Team Flair, which is captained by Sting, including Beer Money and Desmond Wolfe.
So why is this Team Flair if the captain is Sting?
Well, this is TNA.
Oh. Okay.
Flair should have never gotten out of that wheelchair. I'm still hot about it. That should have gone. Think about the great people. Mahina with the neck brace. How long did he wear that after a bump?
That's the problem with TNA, man. You know, people. I don't know exactly what goes on in the back, but you know they come up with these ideas and they're probably like, oh, let's do this with Flair and this with Flair, this. But they don't say, okay, let's do it over the next 6 months.
Where's the end?
Let's do it next week. Let's do all this next week.
Exactly.
And now you've wasted all this stuff you could have done with Flair, but now he's out of the wheelchair, so can he go back? I mean, you have to re-injure him again, correct?
You would think. But here's the thing, though, and people give credit to WWE for this, and it's been long said, they work backwards.
Yeah.
For especially their major storylines.
And
it's what's the end point,
yes.
and now how do I get there? And I'm not sure that happens all the time or enough in TNA. I'm being political.
I don't think
so. But I don't think Flair or Hogan are actually participating in the match, at least from what I could tell. So you got Sting, Beer Money, and Desmond Wolfe on one end, going up against Abyss, who got run over by a car. I thought it was you.
No.
Jarrett, Hardy, and RVD. So some big names in this matchup.
There are big names in this matchup. But I think you're wasting RVD and Hardy in this angle.
Mm-hmm.
They didn't need Hogan for the rub.
Right.
And Hogan didn't need them for the rub.
Right.
And you have other guys.
You know Hogan thinks his name needs to be on that match.
Yes, but no. All right. You're never going to give me a job because I tell the truth anyway. I'm just going to say it like this. Hogan needs them for the rub. That's what the deal is. Hogan is the old man that wants to play in the yard with the young fellas, and he wants to roll with the best. So you surround yourself with the best. Kind of like my friend Dusty Rhodes used to do back in the 80s. Mm-hmm. Somebody becomes a big star, well, let me attach myself to him a little bit. I get a longer run. There you go.
The main event, the headlining match, AJ Styles versus the Pope for the World Heavyweight Championship. I could say that to you because Hero's
no
not here
way.
To dispute.
Does Dave know this?
Oh, he's not. We're not able to reach him. I tried calling him, but he's
coward.
busy. AJ Styles versus the Pope should be a good match. Flair, seemingly otherwise occupied. So does AJ lose because he's got no help this time? Is the Pope going to walk out of Lockdown, the new World Heavyweight Champion, if only for a day? Maybe he loses it the next night. Maybe he goes for a long time with it. Can the Pope pull it off?
I think the Pope's going to pull it off, just to spite my friend David Herro.
There's a lot of knowledge of Hero's statements in the wrestling business. Let's just say that. Yeah. And a lot of question on those statements. And Herro, to his credit, has stood behind everything he has said. And it's a very important point. He nor any of us have anything against the Pope, Elijah Burke, nothing at all. I don't know about you, but
No,
nothing,
he's a cool
nothing,
kid.
nothing at all against him. It's just what is TNA going to do in this situation? And Dave doesn't believe Pope has a chance. I would like to disagree. But again, if you go back to where does it go? What's the end game? What do you do with the Pope as world champion? I don't see it. I don't know.
Why not? The Pope is the Pope. He's got
He's
the
pimping.
money. He's got. Is he a real pimp? I don't know. But now with the gold around his waist, it's appropriate, right?
Yep. So you're picking Pope.
I'm gonna pick the Pope. Why not?
Super. Well, that is TNA Lockdown on pay-per-view this Sunday, and we'll have a full review of that show on Monday night's 540 ESPN radio show, and some big news coming just this past Monday, breaking news during the radio show. WWE Smackdown moving networks. They are no longer going to be on My Network TV. They're moving to cable and Syfy. A couple of notes to communicate as it pertains to this. WWE is going to see about a $15 million increase in licensing revenues from this deal. Winner, WWE. MyNet did not want the show anymore. It was their only bit of original programming. They were paying $20 million a year for it in rights and licensing. I don't know if they were able to make that back with the advertising. One would assume so, but they were not in a position to renew the show. So technically, SmackDown got canceled. And WWE, utilizing their power with NBC Universal, found a new deal for the program. However, while it will stay on Fridays, it has bumped WWE Next from its Tuesday night spot on Syfy, and WWE Next possibly going away or to a new network. The significance of this move: SmackDown Friday nights on My Network TV, available in most homes in the country on broadcast television. However, challenged with preemptions in major markets on a regular basis, now permanently placed on Syfy, permanent for the next 2 years at least, on Syfy without those challenges yet to fewer homes.
Well, here's my deal.
Your deal is?
If you don't have cable by now, you're not going to buy a ticket to come to my show, so I don't care. I made $15 million. You 3 million people at home, 3 million people don't even watch SmackDown if you include people without cable, just regular TV. So I'm not going to miss your money by chance. I mean, you're not definitely going to my shows or buying my pay-per-views. You don't even have cable. How are you going to buy my pay-per-view? You're not significant.
Maybe that's why you don't have cable.
That's the bottom
You
line.
just don't hold back, do you?
No, I don't.
It'll be an interesting story. This move is going to happen in October. See what happens with NXT and where they go from there. Some talk has been of several networks, which I won't speculate on, but we'll see what happens with that. WWE SmackDown, after 10 years, moving to cable from broadcast television. Another big news story, which actually just broke yesterday, and Rasche, I'm very interested to hear your take on this, because you are very close to the person who this story surrounds and this controversy surrounds, being part of Ring of Honor. Jim Cornette, seemingly in an ugly situation right now with TNA Wrestling and some lawyers and maybe the law enforcement agencies in his home state of Kentucky. Let's break it down for you. Jim Cornette, who has been very outspoken. Jim Cornette has been very outspoken since his departure from TNA about his disdain for TNA, much like he's been with WWE, and specifically his disdain for Vince Russo, which as earlier as 1997 or 8, when he was on this very program, just buried Russo, continues to do so. Jim Cornette's not one to ever hold back his words. Well, these words may have gotten him in trouble. He sent off a scathing email, which can be read at pwrshow.com, to Terry Taylor, referenced Vince Russo, and had some very unfavorable things to say about Russo and Dixie Carter, while at the same time saying all he wanted to see was TNA succeed, and he wants to remain friends with the friends he does have there. Well, TNA, Terry Taylor, they decided to forward that little email on to their legal team. Their legal team then forwarded the little email on with some direction to law enforcement officials in Kentucky, saying that Vince Russo was indeed, truly afraid for his own personal safety. Jim Cornette has been asked by the legal team of TNA Wrestling to no longer say a word about the backstage happenings of TNA or any of the inner business workings of TNA or its independent contractors. So Jim Cornette's in a bit of a pickle, and he's eating it up and loving it, it seems, because you can find more information about this and Jim's comments at jimcornette.com. But Rasche, I've met Jim Cornette. We spoke to him. I spoke to him just recently over WrestleMania weekend, where he said, "quote unquote," Vince Russo couldn't book less, in a pet shop. But you don't have to push go with him. You don't have to push start. It just happens. Your thoughts on this situation, which could prove to be pretty ugly if Jim Cornette doesn't pull back the reins a little?
My thoughts are, we all know literally he didn't mean what he said about wanting.
Literally didn't.
Come on now. But this is the thing. Mr. Cornette, I love you to death. I know you like me. You know you can't trust anybody in this business, man.
Did he care, though?
I don't know if he cared, but we all know he did not mean this literally. And for them to forward this on, this is like scoring brownie points. Oh, look what Jim Cornette wrote. Oh, maybe I'll have my job for 3 more months. Now this is their way to get Cornette to shut up. That's all it was ammunition to get Cornette to shut up. Other than that, we all know this is total crap. He did not mean it literally. And, all right, they caught Cornette slipping pretty much. They used something against him. And I guess whatever, if he has to comply, he has to comply. They got him this time, but whatever, man.
This time being
everybody knows his feelings, and if you want to find them, I'm sure they're all over the internet, so he doesn't have to really say another word about them.
We've been working to try to get Jim to appear on the Pro Wrestling Report radio show. However, we only have 7 seconds worth of dump time. And like I said, he just goes. And it's amazing to listen to. If you have not listened to an interview by Jim Cornette, whether you agree or disagree with what he's saying, he is a man who is truly, he's not trying to get over. No. He is speaking from his heart and what he truly believes and what his impressions are. And it is just fascinating to listen to. And at the same time, hysterically entertaining.
Every sentence.
And usually it leads into a story about, really, that happened? Okay, well. But this is ugly, though, and I don't think TNA was necessarily in the wrong here if they wanted to shut him up.
Like I said, he gave them what they needed to get him to shut up.
And how many other emails have gone through that nobody has pressed along?
Right.
And that's going to become, part of this whole situation. Because if this has been happening all the time, they finally decided this is the last straw.
Right.
Well, what about the first several straws?
Right.
Why didn't you say anything about that? What's your true motivation, TNA Wrestling? So, an interesting situation, and I'm sure we'll hear Jim talk about it.
Well,
maybe indirectly.
He probably can't talk about it.
Indirect. I'm sure he'll find a way. He's a very creative man.
No, he'd never do that. He'd comply with the law. Stop it.
All right, just saying. Maybe we'll tune in this Monday night on Ring of Honor on HD Net and see what happens. Are you wrestling on TV this Monday night?
I don't know.
We'll check, but you can see the Skull Crusher Rasche Brown on Ring of Honor on HD Net, and including the Ring of Honor channel on YouTube and ROHWrestling.com. I think you guys got some shows coming up next weekend in Dayton, Ohio.
Dayton, Ohio.
Kenny King's going to be our guest.
Kenny King! Yeah,
on 540 ESPN. He took out Jerry Lynn, correct?
Yeah, Kenny's a good guy, but he's running with the wrong people.
He should be running with you.
Well, outside of the ring, we roll. And I try to talk to the man. He's on the wrong side of the tracks, but he won't listen. So when we cross paths, Big Ump gets to teach him a couple lessons.
And you'll hear from Kenny King this Monday night on the Pro Wrestling Report on 540 ESPN. And again, visit ROHWrestling.com. You know what, Rasche? This was fun. Maybe Dave Herro doesn't need to be here.
It was fun for you.
I got to sit over here where I should be sitting because Dave, he in his contract, literally he had it written in. He will not sit in that chair.
And I noticed you've been staring at my Skull Crusher tattoo for about half an hour. You like it?
It's a nice tattoo. Mine's bigger, but my tattoo.
Oh, okay. I was going to say. Not a chance.
For David Herro, who will be back next week, you can hear Skull Crusher on Monday night on 540 ESPN. And don't forget to tune in to our interactive marathon with myself and Linda Kay. It's all your emails. We're cleaning out our email inbox over the course of the next several days, exclusively at pwrshow.com. And follow us on Twitter. PWR Show is our name. Rasche, the only star on the show, not on Twitter. Maybe, can we get you on Twitter? We can create an account.
I'm fighting Twitter! No,
not about the tweet?
No.
140 characters, not enough for you?
Facebook's enough.
Facebook, ruining someone's life every 2 minutes.
And oh my God, I think I've had 5 lives.
Only got 4 left. You might want to start blocking some people. Thank you very much for tuning in to today's edition of the Pro Wrestling Report Primetime. Rasche, thanks for joining us.
Anytime.
And we'll see you again Monday night on 540 ESPN.